मैंने ना फर्स्ट टाइम पू को देखा था जब ना मैं 4-5 साल का होऊंगा. I don't even remember how old I was, but I remember I was tiny. And I remember कि इस टाइम में सर्दियाँ थी. Imagine peak Delhi winter. And it's so cringy, but I really want to tell it because it's so funny. मैंने ना सर्दियों में ना बहुत ऐसे अपने गर्मियों वाले shorts and stuff पहनने स्टार्ट कर दिए थे. Because मुझे जब ऐसे बड़े लोग टोकते थे ना कि अरे इससे कितने कम कपड़े पहन रखे हैं, कि अरे इसे कोई पूरे कपड़े पहना दो. So I used to feel like poo and I used to love it. I remember मेरे और मेरे फ्रेंड्स के बीच में कोई सा भी आर्ग्यूमेंट होता था ना, तो I used to be like, whatever. I am dying of cringe right now. You know, now come to think of it, there has always been something seriously wrong with me. Lol, I'm a bit of a gone case, but who has been very iconic for the people who grew up around that time. तो इस वीडियो ऐसे में हम इस चीज पर बात करेंगे. I was watching Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham again and oh my god, that movie is aged like milk. Not even like milk, like dahi, जो कि खट्टी हो गई है. And उसमें से ना water type भी रिलीज हो गया, and उस water के ऊपर अब मलाई तैर रही है. Oh, I always thought I had bad daddy issues, but Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham देखने के बाद तो I feel so bad for Karan Johar. Kijo, honey, you have really bad daddy issues, hon. ओके, सो मैं ना इस मूवी के प्लॉट का एक क्विक रिकैप टाइप करने वाला हूँ. कभी खुशी कभी गम इज द स्टोरी ऑफ दिस रायचंद फैमिली जो कि दिल्ली के हॉगवर्ट्स नगर में रहते हैं. द हेड ऑफ द फैमिली इज दिस पेट्रियार्क, द डैड ऑफ द हाउस. एंड ये डैडी को ना कुछ ज्यादा ही सीरियस टाइप है. एंड इट्स एक्चुअली वेरी वियर्ड. ही इज ठरकी बट ही इज आल्सो वेरी सीरियस. हाउ डज दैट वर्क? ही इज बेसिकली इफ नो नॉट नवंबर वाज अ पर्सन. सो या. एंड डैडी जी के फेवरेट वर्ड्स इंक्लूड परंपरा, आदर्श, रीति रिवाज, सिद्धांत एंड स्टफ. एंड इनकी धर्मपत्नी है ना, शी, हाउ डू आई डिस्क्राइब हर पर्सनालिटी विदाउट कंपेयरिंग इट टू अ डोरमैट. अगर तुम उन सारी चीजों को लो ना जिनके खिलाफ फेमिनिज्म खड़ा होता है, एक मिक्सी में डालो एंड एक मिल्क शेक बनाओ, तो वो मिल्क शेक भी राहुल के कदमों की आहट की तरफ निकल पड़ेगा. द मेन प्लॉट है मूवी का कि शाहरुख, जिसका नाम है Rahul, surprise, falls in love with Anjali. But there is a problem. She is a garib. But you see, Rahul is in love. Bollywood wala true love. So he marries her anyways and takes her to Hogwarts Nagar. Where daddy is like, no, Adarsh, Sanskar, Parampara. To which Rahul is like, but daddy love. And mommy is in the background crying like, Then daddy ko bahut gussa aata hai and he pulls the ultimate sibling move and tells Rahul ki he is a adopted. Rahul sad, mummy ji shocked, Anjali sad. Rahul is like, come Anjali, let's go from here. Don't worry, मैंने already London से MBA कर रखी है. Rohan, who's the younger brother and the biggest grow up of the 20th century, finds out about all of this and goes to London, keeping up with the vibe of the Raichand Khandan of getting an MBA from London, where he meets Pooh, who he knows from the Chandu ke chacha days of his childhood. More on Pooh in a while. London में Rohan is basically this huge ass gaslighter, gaslighting everyone into missing the family. बड़ों के साय के बिना लगे घर अधूरा अधूरा. सभी के बिना कैसे होगा आपका करवा चौथ पूरा? Then too much unnecessary nationalism later, the family reunites. Yeah! Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham is from this late 90s, early 2000s phase of Bollywood. इस टाइम ना Bollywood अपने आदर्श परिवार वाले फेज से जा रहा था. Before I continue to get annoyed by Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, I want to talk about the shitty portrayal of women in Bollywood in general. Bollywood has a serious issue when it comes to writing female characters. IBM ने ना IIIT and DTU के साथ मिलकर ना एक बहुत amazing research paper लिखा है titled Analyzing Gender Stereotyping in Bollywood Movies, जिसमें कि they analyze the plots and scripts of around 4,000 movies from 1970s to 2017. They used AI and image understanding techniques, science, to understand movie का plot, posters, trailers, titles, etc. etc. इस research paper में पता चला कि movie के plot में on an average male actors को 30 times mention करते हैं, female actors को बस 15. तो even in the plot, male actors को double story मिल रही है. Interesting. We also find from this research paper कि on an average male actors के role को describe करने के लिए plots में wealthy, strong, successful, real type के words को use करते हैं. वहीं पर to describe female actors they use words like innocent, beautiful, attractive, sexy. Interesting. तो when words like strong, successful and real male actors की personality को importance देते हैं, using words like beautiful, attractive, innocent female actors के looks को importance देते हैं. तो जहाँ एक तरफ मूवी के प्लॉट में for male actors it's their personality that's the focal point, for female actors it's their looks that's the focal point. This research paper also focuses on verbs used to describe both male and female actors throughout the movie story. Verbs हमारे अध्ययन में काफी important है FVC. Let me be an English teacher for a while. Verbs दिखाते हैं कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. For example, I am eating. So eating is the verb. जो चीज मैं कर रहा हूँ is the verb. Like I am talking to you. So talking is the verb. So the verbs that Bollywood movies used to describe male actors were kills, shoots, saves, proposes. And the verbs used to describe female actors were loves, marries, accepts and agrees. तो जहाँ with actions like shoots, saves and proposes, Bollywood दिखा रहा है कि male actor मारता है, बचाता है and propose करता है. Words like loves, marries and accepts shows कि female actress प्यार करती है, शादी करती है and मान लेती है. तो women in Bollywood are generally shown as doing more nurturing, caring and almost passive type roles जो कि society उनसे expect करती है. Interesting. You know, I love reading and analyzing such research papers. It is so interesting to see ना कि most of the country, at least the Hindi heartland, पिछले 50 सालों से क्या देख रहा है. एक और चीज जो इस रिसर्च के बारे में काफी इंटरेस्टिंग थी कि जो भी प्लॉट में कैरेक्टर के इंट्रोडक्शंस थे ना कि he, she, they are so and so, they do so and so thing. तो for male actors it was like he is an honest government employee या he is in the secret wing of the Indian Army Forces. Or something like that. तो for female actors it was like guess कर लो यार, अब तक तो obvious हो गया होगा. She's a beautiful young girl, she's the daughter of Mr. ABC or the wife of Mr. XYZ. मतलब the women were either introduced by their good looks or as a subject to their patriarchal masters. क्यों रे Bollywood? Why are you so problematic, da? John Berger put it perfectly when he said, men act, women appear. Men watch, women watch themselves being watched. And ये जो quote है ना, it's used extensively in describing women's representation in media. More importantly, describing the thing called male gaze. Not these male gaze, male G-A-Z-E वाला gaze. Gaze का मतलब होता है देखने का नजरिया. Also, ignore if I use air quotes wrong. I use them freely and wherever I want. So, male gaze is a way of portraying and looking at women through the eyes of men in a patriarchal society. वो जो ऐसे एक्ट्रेस की एंट्री होगी, फिर वो जूम इन करके बट का शॉट लेंगे, फिर धीरे धीरे कमर का शॉट लेंगे, देन वो टर्न करेगी, फिर मैजिकली हवा चलेगी, उसके बाल उड़ेंगे, is basically an example of male gaze, where the actress is objectified and sexualized for the pleasure of male audience. And Bollywood songs are literally designed for this type of male gaze. वैसे friend, male gaze सिर्फ Bollywood की प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, male gaze patriarchy की प्रॉब्लम है. बॉलीवुड ने तो ये भी बाकी सारी चीजों की तरह हॉलीवुड की मूवीज से चुराया है. Literally सारी media and movies tend to dip their toes into it. Movies like Wolf of Wall Street या जैसे Transformers में how they portrayed Megan Fox is literally pandering to the male gaze. लेकिन ये जो male gaze है ना, ये बॉलीवुड में थोड़ा और कॉम्प्लिकेट हो जाता है. As it just does not serve as a sexualizing gaze, but also adopts many socio-cultural concepts of the society. Hence we get the stereotypical, beautiful, attractive heroine who loves, marries and accepts her life as the wife of XYZ. जैसा कि IBM के रिसर्च पेपर ने पर्दाफाश करके बताया, मेल गेज ना सिस्टर्स बड़ी ही क्रिकेट जैसी चीज है. वो जिस भी सोसाइटी में जाती है वहीं का चोखा उड़ देती है. In India, the male gaze just does not limit itself to sexualizing the actress. वो तो वो करता ही है, but it also writes her as a submissive character in the story, as we saw in our research paper. मैं ना इंडियन मूवीज में वुमेन के डिपिक्शन को एक कॉम्प्लेक्स टाइप के मेल गेज का पार्ट मानता हूँ, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू कॉल दिस टाइप ऑफ मेल गेज द पारिवारिक गेज. इन द बुक इंडियन पॉपुलर सिनेमा अ नैरेटिव ऑफ कल्चरल चेंज, के मोती गोकुल सिंह एंड विमल देशनायक लिखते हैं कि इंडिया की जो ऐसी ब्लॉकबस्टर टाइप मूवीज होती है ना, लाइक चार्ट टॉपिंग टाइप मूवीज जो होती हैं, उनमें विमेन को 2 टाइप के रोल्स में कास्ट करते हैं, या तो माँ के या तो वाइफ के, लाइक द. एंड जो women इस ट्रेडिशनल जेंडर रोल को एक्सेप्ट करती हैं, दे आर रिवॉर्डेड इन द मूवीज स्टोरी, एंड जो इससे बाहर स्टेप आउट करती हैं, शी इज पनिश्ड एज द स्टोरी प्रोग्रेसेस. जया बच्चन का जो मम्मी वाला रोल है ना, जिससे मैं इतना इरिटेट हो रहा था कभी खुशी कभी गम का रिकैप देते टाइम, is a perfect example of a role written by this parivarik gaze found especially in India. I was actually wondering why is this kind of gaze present in Bollywood, where this sort of weird fusion occurs where the women are sexualized in the songs and their visual depiction on the screen, but then story mein they are this super traditional gender roles strongly supporting the traditional patriarchal structure. So the reason I found out for it is actually pretty interesting and kind of obvious. India mein na movie dekhne jana is usually sort of a family affair. Lakshmi Srinivas writes in the paper, The Active Audience, Spectatorship, Social Relations and Experience of Cinema in India. कि ये जो ब्लॉकबस्टर मूवीज है ना, इनकी स्टोरी इस तरीके से बनाते हैं कि उसमें सबके लिए कुछ तो भी हो. They are designed in a way कि जो फैमिली की तीनों जनरेशंस हो ना, वो सभी उस मूवी को देखना एंजॉय करें. So where they'll have all these sexualizing songs for the adults, the movie will also have this slapstick humor to keep the kids entertained. And the morality of the story, the gender roles, the structure of the family is always written in a way to keep the oldest generation happy. So chahe the young generation might find these stereotypical depictions regressive, the cinema still evolves, making sure that it does not upset the older generation of the family. Because the movie that the entire family can watch together means that the movie sells more tickets. The story of Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham kinda takes place in this transitional stage of a family, जिसमें the older generation is super old and about to die, and the new generation is sort of coming of age. Like we see this in movie के starting में ही ना, when Rohan, which is Hrithik Roshan's character, goes to meet 2 of his sexiest ladies in his life, which is his Dadi and Nani. Ew, cringe. And the Dadi was like super scared and crying and stuff that भगवान उन्हें क्या कहेगा if she dies without reuniting the family. ये वैसे काफी छोटा सा सीन है, but it really kind of says so much about the gendered duties, where the women are portrayed as the caretakers of the household, responsible for everything that happens inside the house, being this sort of a moral center of the family. I mean, ये जो typical सा patriarchal look नहीं है परिवार को लेकर, ये ना कभी खुशी कभी गम के कन कन में बसा हुआ है. फेयर ऑब्जर्वर के एक आर्टिकल में रश्मि शैला पॉइंट्स आउट कि जो जया बच्चन का कैरेक्टर दिवाली पर एक गाना टाइप नहीं गा रहा था. सो शी फर्स्ट सिंग्स दैट फॉर द गॉड एंड देन शी सिंग्स दैट फॉर हर हस्बैंड, एंड हियर आई एम लिटरली कोटिंग द लिरिक्स कि मेरी सासू भी तू है समाया, मेरा जीवन तो बस तेरा साया, तेरी पूजा करूं मैं तो हरदम, ये तेरे करम कभी खुशी कभी गम. So she's shown singing these lyrics in the Aarti, and then like Amitabh Bachchan's character, which is her husband, enters and then she sings these lyrics for her husband. Mummy ji, stop it mummy ji. इस लॉजिक से तो हमें कभी प्यार नहीं मिल पाएगा मम्मी जी. I can't be my boyfriend's sire and all, मम्मी जी. पति को भगवान बना दो is literally the theme of the movie वैसे. Like climax वाले सीन में भी ना, when Jaya Bachchan stands up against Amitabh Bachchan after 10 years, तो she goes like, मम्मी ने कहा था कि पति भगवान का रूप होता है and stuff. And वो भगवान कैसे होगा अगर वो गलत decisions लेगा. तो even when she points out पति देव जी की गलती, she tells him कि by fixing his गलती he gets to be a भगवान. मम्मी जी, योर पतिदेव इज अ वेरी टॉक्सिक इंसान. इन्हें पहले एक अच्छा इंसान तो बनने दो, भगवान बाद में बना लेना. एंड ये जो जेंडर ड्यूटी ऑफ लाइक वुमेन बीइंग द केयरटेकर ऑफ द हाउस होल्ड एक्सटेंड्स टू काजोल्स कैरेक्टर टू. काजोल जब चांदनी चौक में होती है अपनी शादी वादी से पहले, तो अपने पापा जी की दुकान संभाल रही होती है. पर शादी के बाद डिस्पाइट ऑफ हर लिविंग इन लंदन, वो घर शहर से बाहर ही नहीं निकलती है. लाइक शादी के बाद शी इज लिटरली डिपिक्टेड एज दिस हाउसवाइफ हु इज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ हर हस्बैंड इन the sun. Honestly, I want to clarify here that I'm not against women being a stay-at-home mom at all. You do you, boo. Honestly, I would love to be a housewife. Why doesn't Netflix do a show like Housewives of New Delhi and then cast me in it? Okay, but coming back to the point, I don't like media depicting that is the rightful or default position for a woman. कि like शादी के बाद ना औरत का घर संभालना ही उसका कर्तव्य types है. This is something I don't like. Now let's finally talk about Pooh. Yay! Pooh was the character that Karan Johar wrote for the kids of the parivar that went to see the movie. All the slapstick humor, like जैसे गलत जूते पहन लेना, या overall ridiculousness of the Pooh was kinda written to keep the kids entertained. हम literally movie के दौरान Pooh को बड़ा होते हुए देखते हैं. Even in her चंदू के चाचा days, we can clearly see how Pooh was like a sassy queen. Being like this leader of a Gunda gang. But Pooh is really introduced to us when Hrithik goes to UK and is magically in the same college as her. Everything about Pooh was ridiculous, even for a Kejo movie. I remember wearing Western clothes was always something that was looked down upon in the Bollywood movies of that time. Like हमेशा ना उस type की woman would be depicted in like wearing Western कपड़े and stuff. Urvashi Butalia talks about this in her paper Women in Indian Cinema कि how modernity in Indian cinema was always equated to being something that was bad or perverse. Like जैसे on the top of my head, बीवी नंबर 1 में सुष्मिता सेन जो कि like ऐसे गर्लफ्रेंड का रोल करती है was like wearing all these western कपड़े and all of these like you know mini skirts and stuff. And करिश्मा कपूर जो कि बीवी नंबर 1 होती है was always wearing these saris and like you know like Indian ethnic sort of clothes. Okay. I just realized कि मैंने ना कुछ ज़्यादा ही स्कूल बंक करके ना अपना बचपन स्टार गोल्ड देखते हुए बिताया है. Okay, coming back to Pooh, it's not even like Pooh wasn't judged for like westernization in the movie. Like Pooh के introduction वाले scene में ही हमें दिखाते हैं how शाहरुख खान is very annoyed by the way that Pooh was dressing up. And even throughout the movie, like काजोल का character भी Pooh को उसके कपड़ों के लिए बार बार टॉन्ट मारता रहता है, like कि कैसे काले से कपड़े पहन के मंदिर आ गए या फिर मतलब you get my point, right? But where I feel Pooh was different from all the Bollywood characters that came before her was, honey, she did not care what those people were telling her. Pooh in her own weird, quirky way told the kids कि बड़े तो तुमको टोकेंगे ही. But you don't really have to listen to them. In an interview, Kareena told that like Kejo was the real Pooh.
Tell me this. Now, Karan said that Pooh was him. Okay?
Yeah.
He said, I chose the clothes, I wrote the lines. What was his brief to you?
He was acting the scenes.
No.
Of course, he was acting every beat out. And because I think somewhere this character's kind of energy is a bit like Karan.
Right,
You know, like
right. Flamboyant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flamboyant, lovable, you know, so like, you know, all heart. I think all that. So I think he knew this character the best. So somewhere I was just following him. It was actually, it's been one character where actually a director has performed each shot.
And all of it is kind of really obvious too. Pooh, with all her westernization and modernity, was still loved and cherished by her family, which was new and not something seen before in the cinema of that time. Pooh ने almost हर बच्चे को जो उसे देख रहा था kind of एक weird सी permission दे दी. You can like whatever you want. You can dress however you want. You can evolve, and it's okay if your family doesn't get it or support you. For me, Pooh was really iconic because it showed the little me that it's kinda okay to be different than the rest of your family. And it's kinda maybe for the better too. And trust me, the little me needed that. Pooh showed us that even though you are this nerdy kid running in your gully saying Chandu ke chacha ne Chandu ki chachi ko chandni raat mein chandi ki chamach se chutney chatai, you too can grow up and have at least your own pink room moment. But that said, Pooh was still trapped and written through the parivarik gaze, huh? Like, yaad hai when Pooh was rating all the guys based on good looks for her prom? So, Hrithik ka character, jo ki hero hota hai and Pooh ka potential husband hota hai, rates her before Pooh can rate him. Which sends the message to the people in the hall कि no matter how modern the girl gets, she'll always be under the man of her life. Oh, पर ये सिलसिला यहीं खत्म नहीं होता. We see this ki despite Pooh being this oh so strong and everything, she ended up falling in love and like marrying the guy who kind of puts her in her place. So the point of this video is, Netflix, please buy the rights of Pooh and make a feminist version of her so that I can stan her without any guilt. I'm glad you watched till this point. I really hate this parivarik evolution of this male gaze that's like seen everywhere in Bollywood. अब मैंने तुम्हें बता दिया ना, तो तुम्हें भी अभी हर जगह दिखने वाला है, ठीक है? But one thing is that the movie viewing experience is kind of changing now. Like, ab movie dekhna is no longer like an event or like a family outing of sorts. And OTT platforms pe movie dekhna ek काफी personal experience hota ja raha hai. So we can start to see some positive changes happening even now. I hope. Okay, but last thing before you go, I want to show this like Instagram versus reality moment that's happening right now inside my room. Like, I just looked around and I'm like, oh my god, this is definitely something like Instagram versus reality. Okay, so let me show you. Ow. So wait. Okay, so this is how my room looks right now. Like, look at it. Like, this is my lighting arrangement. I'm using an Amazon ka dabba as a light. And then, like, look at how dirty my room is. Like, just look at it. Like, look at it. Like, look at all the trash on the floor. Look at it. And then look at my set. Is this not Instagram versus reality? Then what is this? Bye!